Hello everyone, my name is Andrew Luisukit, matrix number 299412, and today I'll be presenting my final analytical evolution for the collaboration and social computing course. My study focuses on Reddit, exploring its anatomy, its inherent design flaws, and how AI-enhanced design requirements can shape its future. Let's begin. To understand Reddit, we must first look at how its architecture fundamentally diverges from traditional social media. Platforms like Facebook organize interactions around a real-life social graph, utilizing broadcast-style communication where validation comes from known entities. Reddit, however, operates on an interest-based graph. It uses threaded many-to-many discussions where validation is driven entirely by collective intelligence through upvoting and downvoting. Ultimately, Reddit functions as a massive computational laboratory. Its algorithms simply cannot function without human cognition, generating continuous data traces. This laboratory is populated by three distinct user layers operating under a strict anonymity norm, where interactions are driven by historical behavior rather than offline identity. First, we have the lurkers, who make up the vast majority of users passively consuming content without leaving active data traces. Second are the contributors, the active agents who supply the raw, unstructured data via posts and comments. Finally, we have the moderators. These are volunteer community members who govern the subreddits, enforce localized rules, and deploy algorithmic tools like Automoderator to maintain digital hygiene. The core interaction on Reddit relies on human inputs translating into a dynamic rating system. A user's identity is constructed through karma, a combined score of their historical posts and comment success. This means reality-based credentials are replaced by publicly traceable actions. Communications relies on a markdown-enabled threaded syntax, allowing thousands of users to have structured, coherent conversations simultaneously. Every interaction is subject to a bidirectional feedback loop, which is the upward and the downward, which acts as an intermediate crowdsourced quality and ideological filter. Because of this transparent history, Reddit excels at building decentralized trust networks. For example, in social commerce subreddits like r/sneakers, users rely on collective intelligence to authenticate highly counterfeited items. A user uploads images of specific physical metadata like midsole snitching or UV labels. The committee, composed of members with permanent reputation flags, evaluates these nonsense. Through this process, a decentralized consensus is reached, authenticating a product without the need for a centralized corporate authority. This brings us to how Reddit handles social information processing, or SIP. The platform manages an enormous daily stream of data by forcing the crowd to structure the unstructured. When the user submits an image, they first categorize it by selecting a specific subreddit. Then, they must apply a mandatory flag, such as legit check. By forcing the user to append this metadata at the point of submission, the routing algorithm can bypass the general feed and alert specialized community experts immediately. Once data is structured, users move through it using social navigation filters driven by collective intelligence. Instead of a chronological feed, users rely on three main algorithms. The hot filter computes the total volume of votes balanced against the real-world time spent, showing currently popularity. The top filter calculates maximum net upvotes over a historical time frame, and the rising filter acts as a real-time velocity check, tracking the rapid accumulation of upvotes immediately after creation to surface breaking news. To distribute content, Reddit utilizes a powerful recommendation thread. First is collaborative filtering, which maps behavioral patterns like dwell time and upvote to connect users with identical consumption habits. Second is the content-based filtering, which uses large language models to calculate semantic similarities. For example, matching users who engage with the term Docker to posts about Spring Boot. Finally, context-aware recommendation adapts to the user's situation, routing dense technical contents during daytime desktop use and pivoting to casual media for late-night mobile browsing. While this architecture is incredibly efficient, it presents a severe design paradox. The great strength of Reddit is that its subreddit structure prevents context collapse. Users can interact globally while keeping their professional, personal, and hobbies lives strictly compartmentalized. However, this same structure creates a massive design flaw: the filter bubble. The upward and downward system morphs into an ideological screening tool. Opposing viewpoints are constantly downvoted below visibility threshold, meaning the system prioritizes the psychological comfort of the user over information diversity. This creates a direct pipeline to polarization. In step 1, the social software, specifically the downward button, encourages self-regulated homogenization at the UI level. In step 2, the SIP engine mathematically rewards the user with content they already agree with. By step 3, the design space has successfully trapped the user in a filter bubble, systematically eradicating cognitive diversity from their feed. This leads to step 4, the social impact of digital tribalism, where dangerous subcultures can flourish under the radar of decentralized governance. To address these critical flaws, I propose two AI-enhanced system improvements to shift the platform from prioritizing fewer engagement to fostering healthy discourses. The first is AI-driven cross-pollination. Currently, algorithms isolate users. By deploying large language models to analyze semantic interests across opposing ideological subreddits, the system could intentionally inject a high-rank bridging post into a user's feed. This would expose them to context authored by a community with different views but a shared core interest, gently reintroducing cognitive diversity. My second proposed improvement is the introduction of algorithmic friction. In social computing, frictionless communication often accelerates reactive, low-quality action. By implementing a natural language processing sentiment analysis layer at the UI level, the system can scan a user's draft comment instantly. If the algorithm detects toxicity exceeding 80%, it triggers a friction interface, imposing a 10-second cooldown and a fact-check prompt. AI must be used not just for post-facto content removal, but for behavioral intervention at the exact point of interaction. If we evaluate Reddit's overall social impact, we see a double-edged sword across three major categories. Regarding community formation, Reddit provides safe spaces for rare identities to connect globally, but its decentralized nature allows radical extremism to organize unnoticed. Regarding misinformation, the collective intelligence can act as a digital immune system to debunk falsehoods rapidly. However, the velocity algorithm prioritizes emotional intensity, which can lead to tragic false accusations, as seen during the 2013 Boston Marathon incident. Finally, regarding trust, while Karma allows for robust decentralized verification, the anonymity framework is easily exploitable by corporate or political groups purchasing high karma accounts to manipulate consensus. In conclusion, this analysis proves that social computing architecture is never neutral. While features like pseudonymity and collaborative filtering successfully harness the power of the crowd, algorithms optimized exclusively for engagement velocity inevitably fracture society into a radicalized filter bubble. To survive, the future of democratized platforms requires the international design of AI-driven fiction. Technology dictates social behavior, and moving forward, we must engineer systems for healthy discourse, not just endless engagement. Thank you for listening. Bye.